That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Let's go ahead and go on to the trade we'll be discussing this week. And that is going to be Black Panther Wild Kingdom. X-Men Black Panther Wild Kingdom, but there's also Black Panther House of M. Is that just the... Oh. Soul Power in the House of M. So we'll start with this since it's a one-shot. So back in the mid-2000s, Marvel was doing a crossover called House of M. Let's see here. The New Avengers and the Astonishing X-Men meant to discuss the fate of Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, the daughter of the powerful mutant terrorist Magneto. After losing control of her reality-altering powers and suffering a total nervous breakdown, Wanda unleashed chaos upon the Avengers, killing and injuring many of their number. Magneto intervened and took his daughter to the devastated island nation of Geonosia, where Charles Xavier, the founder of the X-Men, was to help her recover. Xavier failed, and now it is up to Wanda's friends and teammates to decide whether she will live or die. Magneto, Wanda, and her brother Pietro disappear. Then the world burns to white. Reality as we know it is gone, to be replaced by a society in which humans are the oppressed minority and mutants run the culture, ruling over all existing countries, religions, and politics. A kingdom united under the House of M. A united Africa, ruled over by Queen Aurora, Storm, and King T'Challa, Black Panther, has become an economic powerhouse and a thorn in Magneto's side. You see, one of that continent's mutant rulers has been speaking out against the persistence of supremacist notions in the mutant-controlled world, something Magneto simply can't abide. So we start off with Quicksilver in Africa. He delivers ice cream straight from Rome to Storm in an attempt to woo her. It does not work because she is in love with T'Challa. That's seriously just what this whole thing is. We're shown Africa just absolutely prospering under mutant rule, and that's kind of a neat idea. But Storm is speaking out. It's like, just because we're mutants doesn't mean we're better than people. We need to be kind and share our gifts. So Magneto decides to take a more direct approach to just bringing Africa properly under heel, and that mainly means taking care of Black Panther. So Black Panther is kind of sitting in his throne room when Sabretooth shows up and tries to assassinate him. I really like this because before Sabretooth even gets his gun fully extended around a corner to shoot T'Challa, he gets shot right in the shoulder. And he's like, I can't believe you just shot me like that. And T'Challa replies, why not? I'm a very good shot. And that's when you put on the shades and you walk away. That was pretty fucking good. But Sabretooth reveals Magneto's plan to try to kill T'Challa before T'Challa chops off his head and sends it to Magneto as a gift. Awesome. So Magneto decides to be even more direct and to send Apocalypse to T'Challa's door to try to break down Wakanda. And it is in this epic battle that a lot of crazy stuff happens. T'Challa unites Atlantis with Wakanda, and Storm helps in the fight too, and yet Apocalypse still manages to get to T'Challa's throne room. So T'Challa runs away and into another room where Black Bolt is waiting. And Black Bolt says a single word, which no one can hear, but it completely destroys the palace. And T'Challa gets out of a vibranium chest. The palace and Apocalypse. And then T'Challa gets out of a vibranium chest and is like, whew, even with the vibranium absorbing the sound waves, that was loud. Good thing you don't talk on the conference calls. A lot of rebuilding ahead, but thanks to you, Black Bolt, I still have a kingdom. And then, yeah, so Magneto's like, well, shit, I can't invade Wakanda. And that's the end of that. So it's like, it really does have nothing to do with this story. And I'll get into that in a second, but it's the only issue of his run that's not collected in a Black Panther trade. And the run that takes place right after it is a crossover with the X-Men. Why not just open with that? Whatever. But yeah, I thought that was pretty fun. It was neat to see, T'Challa, the strategist, going up against the world. I got really nostalgic when I picked this book up and finally took it out of the bag and board, because on the back there's an ad for Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which is one of the best superhero video games ever. And yeah, that was just hit me right in the feels. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into Wild Kingdom. This unfortunately is not very good. It's okay. It's fun at times. It's a little silly, but ultimately, this does not make me look terribly forward to the rest of Hudlin's run on Black Panther. Though I will say, maybe it's not him. Maybe it's just the guy that was writing X-Men, and they obviously go back and forth, because this is like an issue of X-Men, an issue of Black Panther. So this dealing with the fallout of Uganda, which is the neighboring country ruled by the dictator of Ubuntu that was overthrown in the last volume of Black Panther. And so there's just civil war and chaos going on in that country since, T'Challa beat the shit out of the guy that helped stage an invasion of his country and, dethroned him. And so now there's a civil war and just shit's going crazy. And the X-Men are viewing the situation and see this. It is a mutated animal. And see, this sets up a premise that I thought would be really, really interesting. Because, okay, the X-Men have their powers because of super science in the Marvel Universe, creating, mutated humans. Cool. Humans aren't the only species on the planet. So I thought this would be a really interesting take, where it's like, okay, now we're actually starting to see other animals on the planet develop superpowers like humans are. That's really cool. I'm interested in that. No. That's what it seems like it's going to be. But then it's revealed to be like an evil geneticist just performing these experiments to change animals into this, and that was disappointing. But like, there's like a giant lion that looked really cool. Who is writing the X-Men portion of this? Peter Milligan. I don't know anything about him off the top of my head. So the X-Men go to Africa and start dealing with all the stuff. There's discussions, and Storm has the most interesting character in here, and how it's dealt with her and T'Challa's relationship. So they stumble on the factory that's producing these genetically enhanced animals, and they find Black Panther at the keyboard with a man knocked out on the ground, as he is obviously also investigating things. So the X-Men and Black Panther kind of get off to a bad start, as like this scientist guy that Black Panther is just beating the shit out of keeps asking for their help, and they don't want to give Black Panther the benefit of the doubt, so they fight him, and that gives the scientist who's absorbing mutant powers time to get away. Um, eh. So the thing that I've found the most interesting and that I know is coming in Hudlin's run, or thing I found most interesting about this volume, and I know that's coming in Hudlin's run, is the relationship between Aurora and T'Challa. Storm and Black Panther, spoilers, eventually get married in this book, in Hudlin's run. And this is the first time we've seen them on page together in this book. So like they're kind of talking, and there's obviously a lot of tension between them, and so it's like T'Challa goes, and the troll Wolverine, is he your boyfriend? What are you talking about? Please, I can smell his passion for you. And she says, and how many women are in your harem these days, King T'Challa? He says, I've been a monk waiting for your return. Do not start with me. I've avoided this entire continent because of you, and you're about to remind me why. He says, fine. Then you handle your business, and I'll handle mine. Agreed. Just remember, they don't care about X-Men. They need a goddess. You're wise, T'Challa, but you will not break my heart a second time. And it's just interesting that Storm in Africa is treated as a goddess. This is a really cool idea. I like that. And T'Challa's trying to offer her that back. He wants to like be in a relationship with her and give her the respect and honor and dignity that he feels she deserves. She deserves to be treated that way. It's a cool idea. And she, of course, doesn't like T'Challa because, you know, the way that the Black Panther society is, the Wakandan society is structured, he is a king and he has a harem at his disposal should he wish to use it. Which is what T'Challa's awesome bald black bodyguards are. Those are referred to as the Panther's wives in waiting, which is kind of interesting. And they dealt with that a little bit in the Who is the Black Panther run, where, you know, they are waiting outside his bed as he has a dream about not being able to handle the responsibility and the power of being the Black Panther, and so they sit there as temptation. I thought that was really interesting. And so he's like, he doesn't want that though. He wants to be with Storm. And so Storm goes off and is dealing with violence going on in this country. And she sees some guys trying to hunt a woman and her child down, and strikes him with lightning. He's like, stand back, this mother and child are just like any man who touches them. And then T'Challa has to fight like a four-armed ape and a telepathic baboon. And like, okay. Meanwhile, the other X-Men have been captured and they're being planned to be like sold off for auction. Those bodyguards. So anyway, the bodyguards help save T'Challa from the beasts, the telepathic baboon and the four-armed gorilla. And Storm walks in on them, making sure he's okay. I came to see if you needed any help, but it is clear that you have everything you need. Aurora, wait, these are my personal bodyguards. I can see exactly what they are, T'Challa. Aurora! Don't you just hate it when the woman you love walks in on you and your sexy bodyguards? Damn. And then the Red Ghost, the communist villain of the Marvel Universe, shows up with some like talking apes. And I'm just like, whatever. It's just, this is where it starts to get really weird. I'm trying to figure out what am I in? Because this is where I'm not quite sure if the story is working or not. And I can't tell who wrote what issues. Because like they don't tell you what issue what's happening in. I'm tempted to say that issue is Black Panther's since he's in more of it. So it might be Hudlin that's writing this really stupid thing with the communist apes, but I can't even tell you. This where things start to break down, and I'm just like, I don't really care. So yeah, you got Storm and Black Panther just dealing with stuff and trying to sort their relationship out in the meantime. And then Storm goes up to save the X-Men. Black Panther has to come in and help deal with all that stuff. And he's able to tame some kind of monstrous purple dragon thing, which is kind of cool. Otherwise, I don't know. There's just like a lot of like, this is weird and silly. The telepathic baboon wants to take over or turn the entire world and to just rule by apes. He wants to, create the planet of the apes. It's just bizarre. This just starts to get into really weird comic bookiness, and I don't know whose fault that is. And like, T'Challa gets some cool shit to do. Like, there's a need to reprogram a computer system at one point. And Red Ghost is working on it, and T'Challa's like, what's the problem here? And he goes, I don't have time to explain such a sophisticated device like this to a... And then T'Challa just takes over and finishes working on what he was doing in a matter of seconds. So that was kind of cool. The villain of the book ends up getting killed, and T'Challa says, saves me the trouble. And then one of the X-Men goes, wait, are you saying you would have killed him if Red Ghost didn't? And he's like, it was an option, yes. So you'd be judge, jury, and executioner? As king of Wakanda, I am. Neat little insight into the politics of that. So Storm, day is saved. Storm tells the X-Men to go home. And she says she's going to stay for a while in Africa because she doesn't want to leave. T'Challa's like, that's great, I'll prepare. No, T'Challa, not in Wakanda with you. I need some time alone to reconcile all that I've become, woman, goddess, X-Man, myself. As for you, T'Challa, son of T'Chaka, and then we get a cool panel of them kissing, which I liked. Our paths will cross again. Cool. That I like. I like that they are developing a relationship that they legitimately do like each other. It's just they're like a bickering couple. It's cute. There's something interesting to talk about, the idea of putting Storm and T'Challa together that I feel is worth some time to get into. So I'll talk about that real quick before I wrap up. there is a certain level of sexism to the notion, because part of what makes it cool is you're making T'Challa cool by giving him a wife as a status symbol. She's literally becoming a trophy wife in a certain point of view. And that is obviously problematic. What's important is seeing how it's being handled. If Storm is getting anything out of this relationship as well, besides just, money or like something superficial, if she is personally fulfilled in this relationship. And if there is more to the relationship than T'Challa seeing her as a status symbol. This is kind of that weird thing of how writers that are fans of a character will they'll put their ships into continuity, and it can be weird to see that happen, but to the best of my knowledge, at least, T'Challa's never really had a consistent love interest. So to put him with Storm is a neat idea. I like that. That's kind of a cool thing to do. And so I can see that relationship working out well, and that's a neat idea. How well it'll work out, I don't know. I haven't gotten into that yet. This section of the run was a bit on the rough side. Crossovers usually are that way. They're probably, everyone wants to read comic book crossovers. Everyone talks about, wouldn't it be cool if this character and this character got to do a crossover? So few people know how to write good crossovers, guys. Whew. All right.
That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.